Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a framework that's all about stopping the endless consumption of info and actually doing something with it, building real skills that get you where you want to go.
All right, let's just get right into it, because I think this is something we've all felt, right? You spend hours listening to podcasts, watching videos, reading articles. You feel super productive. But then, when you actually need to use that knowledge, poof, it's gone. It's the classic trap of our information-saturated world.
Yeah, I know, that's a pretty intense way to say it, but it really hits on a core truth, doesn't it? That passive kind of learning feels good. It gives you this little rush, this feeling of progress. But the problem is, it's a false high. Most of that information just evaporates. So this is what we're going to call the learning trap. And it's all about why our gut instinct to just consume more and more and more information is actually the very thing holding us back.
See, the real fix here isn't about the quantity of information you absorb, it's about the quality of your learning process. Getting good at the skill of learning itself, now that is the meta skill. It's the one skill that makes every other skill easier to acquire.
Okay, so that brings us to a totally different model. It's called the Project First method. The whole idea is to flip the script. Instead of learning then doing, you start doing first and then learn on demand, exactly when you need it.
And this right here, this shows the difference perfectly. On one side, you have the old way, right? The endless cycle of watching tutorials, getting totally overwhelmed, forgetting it all, and just feeling stuck. But the Project First way, it's a completely different game. You start a project, you immediately hit a wall, which is a good thing. You find the one piece of information you need to get past it, and you apply it right away. That's how knowledge sticks.
And look, when we say project, I don't want you thinking about some huge, massive thing. It doesn't have to be. A project is really just a container for your learning. It could be as simple as designing one graphic, writing one email newsletter, or figuring out one healthy meal plan. It just needs a clear, tangible outcome.
All right, section 3. Let's actually build out your learning blueprint. This is the practical framework for putting all of this into action.
So before you even think about what project to do, you got to know where you're going. You need a map, what you actually want your life to look like. Once you define that, you can work backward and figure out the skills you need. This gives your learning purpose. Your brain is an amazing pattern recognition machine, and when you give it a clear target, it starts seeing opportunities and information everywhere.
And this is the engine that's going to drive you along that map. It's the learning loop. And it's so simple, but so powerful. First, you just start, even if you feel totally clueless. Second, you fail. You get stuck. And this is the most important part. This is where the learning happens. Then you search, not for a whole course, but for the one specific answer you need. You implement it right away, and you just repeat that cycle. Real knowledge is forged in that struggle, not in passive memorization.
Okay, but what happens when you just can't start? You know, procrastination hits all of us. Well, there's this cool psychological trick for that. It's based on an idea that our brains hate unfinished tasks. So, if you want to start a big project, just do a tiny, easy, related task first. Like, just open the software, or maybe clear your desk. It creates this open loop in your mind that kind of nags at you, pulling you toward finishing the bigger task.
So let's say you've done it. You've built your project, you've learned a ton along the way. Awesome. But if you want to lock that knowledge in for good, there is one final crucial step. It's the ultimate amplifier. You have to teach it. You've probably heard of this. It's famously called the Feynman technique. The whole idea is that if you can't explain something in simple terms, you don't really understand it yourself. The act of trying to teach it forces you to confront what you don't know. And this is actually backed by science. It's called the protege effect. See, at the moment you decide you have to teach something, your brain just shifts gears. It goes from just taking information in to actively organizing it, structuring it, and looking for holes because it knows it's going to have to explain it to someone else. It's a total game changer for learning.
So it really boils down to this. Teaching isn't really for other people, it's the final, most important step for you. It's like a spotlight that finds every single gap in your own understanding, forcing you to go back and fill them in until you've truly mastered the topic.
So how do you actually do this? Like today? It's simple. Write about what you're learning. Don't even think of it as creating content. Just think of it as a public journal. Document your process. Share what you learned this week. Talk about a mistake you made. When you do that, you not only solidify your own knowledge, but you start attracting people who are on the exact same path. All right, let's bring this all home. We're going to put everything together into a super simple daily system for success.
And look, this doesn't mean you have to quit your job and learn all day. Not at all. It's all about 3 key habits. First, a block of time to actually build, to work on your project. Second, a block of time to learn, to solve the problems you run into. And third, and this is so important, a block of time to walk. Let your brain rest, listen to something, and let all those ideas connect. That's where the real breakthroughs happen. So there you have it. That's the whole framework. Create your map for where you want to go, pick a project to get you there, learn through that build, fail, search loop, and then lock it all in by teaching it. You literally have a system to learn anything 10 times faster. So, you've got the map. The only question is, where are you going to go first?